Morning and Jai Hind. This is third part of Feathered Friend. Let us start this. She was a small yellow canary hanging in the air as motionless as a hummingbird and with much less effort, for her wings were quietly folded along her sides. We stared at each other for a minute. Then, before I had quite recovered my wits, she did a curious kind of backward loop. I'm sure no earthbound canary had ever managed, and departed with a few leisurely flicks. It was quite obvious that she had already learned how to operate in the absence of gravity, and did not believe in doing unnecessary work. So, here the writer saw a yellow canary in front of his eyes, which was hanging like a hummingbird with its wings folded. Then the writer and Claribel looked at each other for a minute, and then Claribel had taken a surprising move, which a writer thinks that can't be done by a bird on earth easily. Claribel just moved backward with very less efforts, which shows that the Claribel had already learned how to operate in the absence of gravity. Let us read further. Sven did not admit that she was his pet for several days, and by that time it no longer mattered because Claribel was a general pet. He had smuggled her up on the last ferry from Earth when he came back from leave, partly he claimed out of sheer scientific curiosity. He wanted to see just how a bird would operate when it had no weight but could still use its wings. So, initially, for many days, Sven did not admit that Claribel was his pet, but till that time, Claribel became the general pet, and it didn't matter who was the original owner of Claribel. Sven brought Claribel along with him from the earth when he went on leave due to his scientific curiosity. That's how a bird would operate in the absence of gravity. Let us read further. We were now on 12-hour watches, which was not as bad as it sounds, since you need little sleep in space. Though, of course, there is no day and night when you are floating in permanent sunlight. It was still convenient to stick to the terms. Certainly, when I woke up that morning, it felt like 6 a.m. on Earth. I had a nagging headache and vague memories of fitful, disturbed dreams. So, now writer told that there was no darkness at all, as there were only permanent sunlight, unlike what one can experience on Earth, where we enjoy 24 hours clock, consists of day as well as night. Still, writer is not upset. One day, writer woke up. Maybe it was 6 a.m. on Earth. He felt a continuous headache and some hazy memories of restless dreams. Let's see what happens next. It took me ages to undo my bunk straps, and I was still only half awake when I joined the remainder of the duty crew in the mess. Breakfast was unusually quiet, and there was one seat vacant. "Where is Sven?" I asked, not very much caring. "He is looking for Claribel," someone answered. "Says he can't find her anywhere. She usually wakes him up." So now the writer left his bed, but still he was feeling sleepy, and joined the other crew members in mess. Usually there were two noises, but on that day there was silence and one seat was vacant. Then writer asked about Sven very casually. Then someone answered that Sven was looking for Claribel, as he had not seen it since morning because Claribel usually wakes him up. Before I could retort that she usually woke me up too, Sven came in through the doorway and we could see at once that something was wrong. He slowly opened his hand and there lay a tiny bundle of yellow feathers with two clenched claws sticking pathetically up into the air. What happened? We asked, all equally distressed. I don't know, said Sven mournfully. I just found her like that. So, here the writer realized that Claribel woke him too, but before that, Sven entered the mess and he was too much disturbed, which was observed by the writer and other crew members. Then Sven opened his hand and there was a Claribel which was unconscious and its claws were up into the air. Then the writer and other crew members asked in a misery way about what had happened. The Sven replied with grief that he don't know and he found Claribel like that.